you're probably paying 2 to 3 times more than competitors, and you don't know why. I'm saying per click. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly what determines your CPC and really how to lower it, how you can see better results in Google Ads. Because if you can, at the end of the day, consolidate cheaper traffic, considering it's the same quality, you can, you can lower down your CPA, you can increase your ROAS. So that's really what I'm going to dive into. So let's start off by what determines your CPC. Your CPC is determined by really two high level things: your bids, so how much you're willing to really pay per click, and then I put your targets as well, so TCPA, TROAS. Because again, if you have a higher TCPA, it means you're, for example, willing to be more aggressive. So it indicates to Google, I can spend more per click than, let's say, if you had a crunch down target that was super restrictive. So like if your account on average is achieving $150 CPA and you set it to $200, that's what's indicating to Google you're willing to be more aggressive. You can show in more auctions. It's going to be more aggressive with bidding. Versus if you're crunched down, if you have an $80, $100 CPL or TCPA, I'm saying, then it's going to be harder for Google to bid higher. So your CPCs might be lower. Not necessarily a good thing, but I'm just explaining how that function works. The number two thing that you have, which I think is most important for people to focus on, is quality score. That's what's really going to allow you to get away with a lower CPC rather than just being in the constant game of increasing bids. Because what happens, and that's what I said here, is you can only increase bids so much. At a certain point, it's not scalable. And you're just paying too much per click to a point where it doesn't make sense, right? You can't consolidate enough traffic to see success. So again, this is where I shifted it. So this is the focus that you are going to need to have is the data information you give to Google. That's more relevant to shopping. Search is a little bit more straightforward, but I think people don't really understand quality score for shopping. So that's what I'm going to dive into here. In terms of just seeing a very quick breakdown um, of if you're actually bidding enough, there's three metrics in Google Ads. There's search impression share. I'm going to explain all three of these right now. So search impression share, what that means, of the keywords that you selected and the locations that you have, how many of the potential searches are you actually showing up for? Okay, so if we're at 32% here, it means 32 out of every 100 people we are showing up for. We're showing an impression for, we're showing an ad for. And then in these other columns, these are indicators to what we're losing out on. So lost impression share to budget, I think pretty straightforward. It just means that you're losing out on market share because you are not spending enough. So technically speaking, again, even though Google says impression share is an approximation, technically speaking, you have opportunity to spike up budget here by 30%, by 25%. So, and the idea is that when you increase budget, this impression share loss to budget goes to zero, as we see here, and switches over to search impression share. Now, what you might see is really high lost impression share to rank. It is trickier to solve for, but even if you go into your ads platform right now, if you add in these three columns and hover over lost impression share to rank, it's going to tell you a little bit about ad rank. You can read about how it's determined, but really what I'm talking about with quality score, it's what affects your ad rank. So if you have better ad rank, then you're going to be able to, like I said, get away with cheaper clicks, because you don't want to get into a war of just increasing bids, going super, super high. It's just not sustainable. And you're going to get better ranking and better performance for the future when you want to increase your budget if you're giving Google all of the data that it needs to basically rank you high and allow you to perform well. So because at the end of the day, you need to keep in mind two things. Number one, obviously, Google's making money off of you, right? You pay every time they click, every time a consumer clicks, and their goal is user experience, right? So if your ads have a higher click through rate, to Google, it's perceived as you have a higher quality listing, right? Because more people are engaging with you. And if you're making it easier for it to crawl or show up your products, again, this is not SEO, but you'll understand what I'm saying in shopping. If you're making it easier for Google to match searches to your actual products, your product listings, then it's going to reward you. It's going to reward you with a higher rank. And what we see here, to dive into the first point in terms of quality score for shopping, actually, before I jump into this, one moment I wanted to share two things everybody needs to know. Certain markets are just ultimately going to be more competitive, so CPCs will be higher. That's just something to know. but I will say lower CPCs are a byproduct of good inputs. So if you've provided all the data that you need for Google, a good quality score on Merchant Center, which I'll explain, quality score on keyword level is dialed in, then you are probably going to get away with cheaper CPCs than competitors and rank higher. But do keep in mind there's a certain level of competitiveness you need to have. I would look at Keyword Planner. It's a good kind of forecasting benchmark tool. I will say it's not 100% accurate just because, again, it's Google's tool. They're going to want you to pay more per click anyway. Again, that's just my theory, but look at that for a basic guideline and kind of see where you are with average CPCs. Or if you're not yet having launched your account, I would take a look at that as well, just for forecasts. But yeah, diving into it. So what I was talking about was quality score for shopping. And the way that you can actually look at this, so in your Merchant Center account, I want you to open it right now. Go to Merchant Center, and then exactly like I have in this screenshot, you want to you'll land on Overview, go to Store Quality, or when you're on Overview, there's going to be like a little like box here. It's going to say like a return policy low or something. It's going to say View More. You can click View More there too. That's easy as well. But what I did here is Store Quality. So for one of the clients that we have an exceptional top quality store. What this does is Google rewards you. I remember they had a breakdown somewhere that you actually can get away with. You'll get better ad rank, and you also get this blue badge right here. And this is fantastic because you can highlight it on your website to show this is how many reviews you have. This is our return policy, shipping policy, promotions. It's a super quick, really trustable breakdown because it's a badge. So I think it's really important that you follow the suggestions that Google gives you. So you see here, again, this customer has exceptional. You might be at, fair, good, great. You want to be exceptional. So you can view recommendations and it's going to give you different options. Here, the example is increased shipping speed. There's different buckets here. There's shipping experience, return experience, promotions, payment methods, website loading speed. So I would scroll through this, actually look at the suggestions it has, and try to get to exceptional in all of them. That's my suggestion. Some of them you might not be able to fix. I don't know, like shipping. Shipping might be a little bit more difficult, but look at it and take the suggestions that it has because it actually affects your ranking, right? And you want to make sure that being said that, your shipping and return policies are 100% up to date. They match what's on your website. I would actually turn off there in that Google and YouTube app. If you were the one that set up the integration, you can turn off shipping policies from automatically syncing from Shopify to Google Merchant Center. Sometimes it doesn't pull it correctly. And I would set up manually your shipping and return policies because you want to make this as constrained of a window as possible. The faster you can ship out a product or show in an ad that it's going to arrive to a customer, the better, right? So like I have some examples, which I'm going to dive into a bit later, but like this is what it looks like, right? So right now when I'm filming this is January 4th. So what this is telling me, I'm getting this keyboard in 16 days, right? I think that's quite a long time. And as a consumer, again, that's going to throw me off. So again, if you can show that your handling time is 1 to 2 days, and then your transit time is also like 1 to 2 days, for example, somebody gets the product in 3-4 days, business days, that's perfect, right? Because that's ultimately going to lead to a more appealing listing than some of the other competitors, which again, I'm going to dive into the examples. It's pretty fun to pick apart, but I'll dive into the examples soon. But that's really it with store quality. So I would spend some time on this page. It also gives you a comparison. You can change it to what Google thinks is your relevant market. Right now, I just have it all stores. But yeah, super, super useful there. So aside from store quality, I want you to also look at your products, right? So right here, there's this product section. Look at all products, look at needs attention, remove that new priority icon that they have. Look at why your products are not approved and fix it. Because again, the data that you're feeding Google about your products is so important, right? So if they're not approved, I should preface, if they're not approved, it can't even serve your products. So you might have shopping campaigns or shopping ads present, and let's say you are targeting XYZ item IDs if you don't have custom labels. If you do have custom labels, you're targeting a ton of different products, but if half of the products in your label, so like let's say you're targeting t-shirts, half your t-shirts are disapproved, you just haven't tested those products. You haven't given Google the opportunity to even serve them. Sometimes it could be something as simple as like mismatched currency and shipping in shipping policy. If like you have, let's say, Canada and US, there's a lot of disapprovals that can happen, but I would just look at it, read the policy, and fix it. So definitely something super important. Just because, again, if you're running ads, like, you want to make sure all the products that you want to push, you're actually able to push. It's the same thing as having like a disapproved, like, responsive search ad, right? Like, what's the point? Like, you're not even testing it. You made it, but it's kind of not even testing, not even running. So that's in terms of disapproval specifically. A limitation that you'll see in a lot of products is limited by GTIN. GTIN is Google's way of saying a product identifier, the same way you have a barcode or UPC code. Make sure that is added for every single product relevant. If you have a custom product, there is a section when you edit a product in Merchant Center to toggle it as custom. Or you can do this in a feed optimization tool like Data Feed Watch. But again, if you're running with an agency, this is something they should be mentioning to you and keeping an eye out for. So a GTIN is basically, instead of a title, Google's understanding of what to match a search to a specific type of product. It's like Google's identification for it. So it's another way that it can just more easily pick up, okay, this is the relevant product for this search. So again, if it can match a search to your product because it finds that it's more relevant, you're going to rank higher, right? So the idea here is you're giving, again, as much information as possible. That's the one thing I want you to get away from. Give Google as much info as possible because it's going to benefit you. It's going to benefit you. So aside from GTIN, make sure you're not limited by GTIN. Again, like I said, UPC codes, make sure that's added in. There's another section for MPNs, manufacturer part numbers, make sure that's also added. Add all other relevant attributes as well. So again, this really depends on your business, which is why I kind of gave this screenshot. But make sure that you have, like, if you're consumable brands, so supplements, like you have weight, the number of capsules included in a specific bottle or whatever. You have your gender, you have your colors, for example. Like, it really depends on the type of brand that you are. But think about what's most important that a customer would want to see. Let's say they're searching for your desired keyword that you want to rank high for. Think about what your ideal customer would want to see, right? Like, what are they looking for? Are they looking for a certain color? Are they looking to see that it's specifically for their gender? Are they looking for a certain size? Make sure that is present in your feed, and make sure you're adding it to your titles. The way that you're adding it to your titles, again, if you're under 10 products, you can just add it in Merchant Center. 10, 20 products, you can add it in Merchant Center manually and just edit the titles. The titles that you edit in Merchant Center are not going to affect what you have in Shopify. But again, as I have in the example here, Data Feed Watch, it's the tool I use. It's just not even affiliated with them. They just are the best tool on the market for this. You can in bulk add it for certain categories. And I would actually watch one of my previous videos. I think it was 2 videos ago. I talk about how to actually set up different titles for certain products. And just have them different from what you're just exactly pulling from Shopify. So something to keep in mind. I would even just search up like Data Feed Watch title notation example, and then you can go to images and you'll find this exact same image. It's not hidden anywhere. I just put it as a screenshot here. But yeah, there's some super great examples. Again, following this notation, even pretty much like 95% of advertisers are not even doing this. So that's going to put you ahead really quick. And the point as well is, like, you don't even have to be in the first spot with shopping. If you have a polarizing listing, so you're different from everybody else, you will get clicks and you'll get better engagement. It's not even about being first, it's about having an appealing ad. And what I actually will show, if that was the next one I wanted to mention. Yeah, I think I'll show the example. So we can look at some examples here of like what's not great and what I would fix. So even if we look at like robotic lawnmower here, right? So all of these are like black and white. First of all, like, try to figure out what's wrong, even pause the video and just kind of take some guesses. Let's say you're on pause now. So what we're seeing here, all the listings are with white backgrounds, kind of black and white actual products. There's one green one, which I would say does stand out because they also have a sale. They're at least showing some shipping and they have a longer title. But what's missing overall is There's no one with a really polarizing product image. Like, why can't I see the robotic lawnmower in action, like on an actual, plane of grass or whatever, in somebody's backyard? Because that's going to put the consumer as like, hey, like this is actually, where it's going to show up for me, or where it's going to be working for me, rather than everybody having a white background, right? Because if you're that one guy with not a white background, you are going to be more appealing. It draws to the eye. So that's something to keep in mind. That's the initial test I would do for a brand like this, for any of the brands that are running here. But it's pretty easy to stand out. I would say also, if you have more reviews than competitors, make sure you're adding your product ratings as well. Something super super important to keep in mind. Something I would also say that is super super wrong here, is I'm located in Canada, but this listing is displaying a US price as well. I will explain why. The reason why is because they're running everything out of one feed. And that's where you want to keep in mind. You always want to have a separate country for each feed because the currency is different. So again, why as a Canadian do I need to see a US price? Like I don't shop in that. And even worse, what I already know, again, just from experience, is when you click through, and I showed an example for a mechanical keyboard here, is we did that same thing. So mechanical keyboard, these guys show up, fantastically, but they're displaying a US price here. This price is in US. This is an immediate no, immediate turn off. And you can even see it in the URL, USD. So if you've expanded to multiple countries now, right, you want to make sure that your feeds are separate because this is actually what your customers might be seeing. And that's not good because then you're going to be wondering, okay, why am I not seeing as good results, for example, in Canada or I don't know, country in Europe? This is why. This is the reason. So make sure that you are separating out. You have a separate feed for Canada, for US, because you want to show that specific currency for that country. And again, that's just a better user experience overall. Again, I can't speak to backend attributes, but I would really just test product images here. No one has a promotion either. I mean, there is the sale, but I'm saying a specific promotion like 15% off with code, 10% off with code. That type of thing as well is not too bad. It's just another kind of highlight you could do here. There's always something to test, is the point. And I think figuring out what's getting you the best engagement, the best conversion rate is what's going to be best. And Google's going to reward you for it. But yeah, the first thing I would focus on is just make sure everything's cleaned up. So you actually, have no products disapproved, or the ones at least you're running ads for are not disapproved. You have the correct GTINs, product identifiers, so the manufacturer parts number, and the UPC or GTIN, same thing. And then building off of that as well, you want to make sure that your descriptions are being pulled and they actually are, pretty keyword rich. That's what helps Google, not particularly on the consumer side, but this is what helps Google understand what's relevant to your product is the information, the keywords that you add in here. So pretty much just think of an SEO optimized description. That's what it is here. And then promotions I touched on, pretty simple. Again, if you're running a promotion on your website, make sure that you have it added as a promotion in Merchant Center. So here, again, if you're going to overview promotions, add promotions. I really hope yours isn't empty because, again, you're just missing out on more clicks, more relevant clicks that just went to a competitor because your offer was worse and you didn't show the promo that you had. So add that in. There's a lot of conditions you can do, like X monetary off, free gift with purchase, percent off. Like you can look through, and it can actually give you some ideas. Like if you look through the options that it has there, you can get some ideas of what to test out on your site. Because Google has as an option, like they know people are using it or doing that or think it's beneficial for user experience, so it's highlighted there. So the next two things I wanted to mention as well, this is pretty similar to product identifiers, product types. So Google has actually like a product taxonomy. This looks super overwhelming to the eye, I would think. But if you search up Google product taxonomy, I just took a screenshot. It has thousands upon thousands of different product categories that Google has as valid, right? So like even something as simple as like if we're selling dog food, right? Instead of having an empty category for a Google product taxonomy, you can actually indicate it to like this group of products or my entire store, like we just sell dog food. again, it's another relevant point of insight indicating to Google, like, this is the type of this is what my product is. Like, it's like you're going in the grocery store and you see milk. Like, you're telling Google that same thing. You're telling Google, like, this is kind of what you're looking for. Like, this is what the person's looking for, and this is matching to that product. So make sure that's added. The easiest way to do this, honestly, just Control or Command F, and then search like your product. So like, if if I was doing, like, I don't know, dog, something related to dogs, I would just do like dog here. But you can look through. This is also kind of good ideas you could get for relevant product types to sell, but that's again for another video. But that's really how I would look at it here. And then make sure that's mapped. You can do it in Shopify, you can do it in Data Feed Watch or Merchant Center. So something super important as well. And then custom labels. What I would say about custom labels, again, best to have another tool, like I said, Data Feed Watch. If you're interested in setting that up for yourself, then you can watch that previous video as well that I mentioned. But that basically just allows you to categorize different products. So if you have thousands of products on your store, and let's say you don't want to target accessories, and you only want to focus on XYZ brands or product types, you can set up custom labels to only target, those specific products given conditions. So like, if title contains X brand, add it to this custom label, or this part of the custom label. If title contains dog food, add to dog food custom label, right? And that way, when you are trying to only target dog food, you don't have to add 300 item IDs. You can actually just have like a label for it and very easily see results. And then you can go more segmented if you need. But it's for organization. It's more so for structure, and Google rewards you for it too. So yeah, and I think the last thing here for the shopping side I wanted to mention was just using the suggestions you see in store quality. I mean, that's going to give a positive shopping experience, lower CPCs. Google's priorities to provide high quality customer results to consumers. Yeah, exactly. Like this is something you need to keep in mind. And then use a tool. They're not super expensive. They're useful, and the results that you get, like, you'll cover it with one sale. So it's really worth it. And I'll make some more tutorials on that as well. Awesome. So now moving on to the search side here. So in terms of quality score for search, it's a little bit more like in the platform, a little bit more obvious. So I would say a 5 out of 10 is okay. Below 3 is where we really start to get to a problem, because if you go to the keyword level in your account, and then you add the columns quality score, expected CTR, ad relevance, landing page experience, and you can look at historical comparisons there to their options in the column. You can actually see your ranking. So your quality score is going to be a combination of your ranking in all of these other 3 columns. And you really just want to see, like, where do you have below average, and where are you really lacking? So what do you need to improve? And what I will say is, like, your bids plus quality score equals ad rank, exactly what I mentioned. So if you have a super low quality score, you're going to have to bid way higher than a competitor would if they had, like, say, like a 7 or 8 out of 10 versus you with a 2 out of 10 quality score. Not to mention certain auctions you might not even be able to show because your lost impression share or rank is so high that, like, again, like, you can't increase your bids enough to capture that impression share. So the way that you actually fix this is test new ads. That's really the simplest thing I can say. Like what I said here, add all relevant ad assets. It's something this simple, but just make sure they're either applied at the campaign or account level. Account level is easiest, but again, if you have specific campaigns for or you have a ton of campaigns, for example, that all kind of need or merit different assets, then that's fine too. But just make sure they're applied. I'd say price is a huge one as well. Can help with CTR. People don't always set it up. The way I like to do this is by categories or by brands, and just doing like a starting from price. So go to your campaigns and then go to assets, and then there's a price extension, and you can do that one. Split test your ads. Try new headlines, descriptions, landing pages. Obviously, test one at a time. But you really want to figure out what is getting the best engagement and conversion rate. Typically on e-commerce, you want to see anywhere from like a 10 to 15% click-through rate. If you're lower than that, then that's going to speak to why your expected CTR is also um, is low, right? Your ranking for that is low, or your score. So something to keep in mind: start testing your ads. I can do a separate video on actual ad copy, but these are, again, more top level suggestions of where you should actually look and what you should do. And then one of the biggest things I would say is improve your engagement rate on your site. Make sure you have a good offer, good promotion, polarizing from competitors. Um, I would say, like, even goes to, like, work with a CRO expert, conversion rate optimization expert, to improve your site experience. Um, Again, if you're able to retain people on a longer time on your site, and they're seeing, a good deal, for example, more likely that they purchase. Google is understanding that that engagement is higher quality. They're going to reward you for it too, and your landing page experience will improve. Really, what they measure here is engagement time. So you can look in analytics and look at engagement time. That's a really, really solid metric for that. And I think that's pretty much all of it. Search is a lot simpler, I would say, than the shopping network, but hopefully that gives you some points of, um, hopefully that gives you some takeaways of really how to improve your quality score on both shopping and search towards lowering your CPC, getting better results within your campaigns. Um, Really, like, these are the high level fixes that you need to implement. If you want more in-depth videos on a certain point, please let me know, and I'll really dive into it. I would also watch my previous video, like I've highlighted here a couple times, about data feed watch and kind of actually optimizing and how you set up certain titles, custom labels, like more custom, just to, again, improve the performance of your shopping ads, because a lot of it comes outside of the platform. But yeah, if you want any other videos, like I said, let me know, and I'll see you in the next one.